when you hit them, it's the funnest, most perfect jump ever.
Yeah.
And once you get that trust level with this crew,
game on.
I don't even think Tyler was riding. I just went out on my own and I found one, and then I think Novice and Kalana came over like, what gear is that? I was like, it's just such a surreal thing to put myself in that environment and to be looked at that way.
You know, should we come back, we hope to come back, of course.
we're coming back.
That's right.
I met a gypsy.
Now, if you've been following the podcast recently, you would know that we're on a massive health kick as we get ready to take on World Vets at Glen Helen in November of 2023. Athletic Greens is not only an all-in-one formula that helps me just cover all my nutritional bases, it's also the first healthy habit that I have that starts every single day. AG1 is packed with 75 vitamins, minerals, and whole food sourced ingredients of the highest quality that are able to offer gut health support, mood support, can affect your energy each day, and contribute to overall healthier looking hair and skin.
I always remember these podcasts, you hear yourself back, and it takes me a second to ease into it.
I know.
Second, Crane, Gypsy Tales doesn't do crowd applause, all right? We're a crowdless show.
He's going to push all the buttons.
Yeah, he's pushing. Yeah. Oh. All right, I'm joined here now on our makeshift Gypsy Tales studio with two of my favourites, Bereman and Vicki Golden. What's up, crew?
Hey, good to be here. Good to have you finally over here from Oz. We've been trying to get here for the last few years, and you finally get to see it with your own two eyes.
And whoa, that's kind of my first thought when being out here.
I mean, you can't think anything else. You get it. Like, we have 10 of the best guys and gal here, and you get all your peers here, and you see the course, and it's for the best guys in the business to be nervous and take them a week to face their fears and get through it. It's no joke, and we all know that footage doesn't do any justice or perspective on any of this stuff. And you get here, your boots on the ground, and you stand there and see the jumps with your own two eyes. It's literally not only a work of art, but it's very intimidating. It's a lot to take in at once. Yeah,
and I think you said it. You said to me yesterday that good work, dude. Good work. I remember my first beer.
Dude, it's nice. These 805s go right through the lip. They're so cold.
So I think you said it best yesterday when you were like, it looks big on camera. And it's like normally whenever you see a hill and you're like, man, it's so much steeper in real life. Or you see a jump and you're like, it's so much bigger in real life. And then you see how big it is on camera. And it is bigger in real life.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's like watching Supercross on TV. You're like, oh, the whoops don't look that bad. But people are just getting bodied through them. Yeah. So you're like, all right, they're probably pretty big.
But little do they know they don't look that bad, but they are fucked. I spent every lap riding around Supercross track thinking about the whoops coming up, holding my breath, just thinking like, oh no, this is the turn, like, oh.
Which is why you don't see any on the course.
I've thought before about, because that's one thing I've never done, is I've never hit a legit set of Supercross whoops, right? Let's pray I don't have to.
Don't do it, it's a trap.
But imagine what do we have to build where it's like the foam pit of whoops? You know what I mean? How do we build the foam pit of whoops? I don't know if it can be done.
I mean, build them out of foam, but they turn into a straightaway when you hit them fast enough.
But that's a crazy thing. And out here as well is like there's no, like that 180 that you hit yesterday. None of these, there's no way to gauge any of these jumps out here. It's just purely like it's feel, it's instinct, and it's experience. And I guess that's why there's only a handful of you guys and gal that actually gets selected to do this event.
Yeah, it's like yesterday we went over the angles and potential, like getting a radar gun to speed check my run-ins to the 180, and the end of the day, I'm a feel person. I don't go on numbers. When there's numbers, I'm not very good at math, so it's just too much for my brain to contemplate. So the less I think, I'm all on feel. And if I have a relationship with Jason Baker that is very, very, very special, that I literally trust that dude with my life.
Yeah,
Case
because that's
in
what
point,
it is at that point.
It literally is. When he's out there building this stuff, he's mentally hitting this stuff in his head, and him being an ex-racer, like, he knows what things should be in transitions, and to the distance of the jump, he knows the size of the lip and the transition should be a certain number, right? So everything that he builds is so consistently the same, give or take on how steep the angle is, depending on how long the jump is. But for the most part, everything being so crazy out here, like, so much to take in at first. Once you start clicking the jumps off, every single jump is exactly the same. And I think a lot of the guys and gal that are here, we all have a racing background, so we have that bike skill and that, like, technical timing that, like, being a racer helps at something like this, because you can basically time this stuff. Like, that's Jason Baker Dream Tracks. He's built all the Supercross tracks, test tracks, all this stuff for years, and he's been in a blueprint of a 65-foot triple at this angle, and it has to be this tall, and he's in a blueprint. So now with this, like, he's able to take that, what he's learned from years of doing all these tracks, and not be in a box or have a blueprint, and basically build whatever his wildest dreams as well as mine, you know? So if he says he can build it, then I trust him tenfold, 100%. He builds it to maximize your power, and as long as you commit, it works. Yeah. So I guess going back into yesterday with that 180, there was a lot of different opinions on the jump and it being too steep, and we kind of all gathered with each other. After everyone left yesterday, I did some speed runs. I stayed back and did some speed runs into it, and we decided to take about it was 38 degrees at the takeoff, so you have a 60-foot jump out of the container into this 180-foot jump. The run-in's not really long enough to pull fourth, so you have to maximize third gear, and it started at 38 degrees, and we made the decision to drop it to 34 and continue the belly from the bottom of the jump, continue that transition at 34 off of it. And riding off of it before that, it's such a step up, it's such a big jump that, like, talking with Matto and stuff, there's a certain angle of a ramp to get you the proper height and distance. So to pop your height to then drop you into the landing how it should be done, it has to be steeper than what we had it. And and there, that go-to is more or less like almost like a 45-degree angle. Like, you think a 75 ramp would be 45 degrees at the top, but it's a quick transition. When the distance jumps ramps, he has a long gradual takeoff, but then it gets to 45 for a long time, and the ramp's massive, right? So this being such a big, tall lip, it was 38, and in my eyes, I visualized that thing since the day I got here, and it looked right to me. When you look from the back, it looks steep, but when you look from the side, it looks like it was gonna put you where it needed to. Yes, it was going to boot you to the fucking moon, no matter what, but I think it would have worked. And to that point, it still worked when we took the 4 degrees off, but the 4 degrees was a lot. And visualizing it so many times coming in, I basically told myself it's going to be third wrapped, and I'm not going to pull. I'm not going to do anything crazy. I'm just going to stay strong, chest over the bars, and just fully commit. And I had this question earlier, like, if you guys hit this kind of stuff, like, does time slow down for you? And I'm so focused that everything else around me was, like, completely tunnel vision that time slowed down. And I had literally a cunt hair of a second to make an adjustment. Like, as I was coming in and I knew I was committing and I was going, there was no other way around it, I was coming up to that lip, and as I was starting to climb the lip, I was like, oh, fuck. Oh, fuck.
Really? You didn't think you were going to make it?
And at the very top, I had that split second of a thought of, like, the time slowed down for me. And I just told myself, like, you got to fucking yank.
Yeah.
And I yanked, and damn glad I yanked, because I was 185 to the sweet spot, and I went 170, and if I was about 2 feet shorter, it would have been bad. And I told myself, like, it was literally slowed it down to the point enough that as soon as I left the lip, it was so slow motion that I literally told myself, there's no fucking way that a helicopter is coming here twice today.
Yeah.
That's not an option. And unfortunately, if that was to happen and I hung my rear wheel, that probably would have been the case, 100%, because it's insane. But it worked, and now knowing that it worked, I didn't jump it again because we needed to make a couple adjustments on the ramp, steepen it back up and lower the landing a little bit, which makes the jump a little bit shorter, not as much of a step up, and then it works. But I trust that dude with my life, and you just he builds it to commit, and as long as you commit, it's gonna work. And I'm glad that one worked based on what I saw before we adjusted it. I thought that was it, and then there was so many other opinions of, like, I think it's too steep, I think it's this, I think it's that, and then that's why I stayed and did the test runs, and then we decided to flatten it, which, yes, for granted it still worked, but that 38 number was right in the ballpark, and that just goes to show mine and Jason's relationship.
Yeah, it was right the first time.
What he builds it how he sees it, and that allows me to have such a trust level with him that however he sees it, I trust it. You know, like him, and not just Jason. And this whole week, you know, and this whole month of him and his whole crew out here, a lot of the eyes get turned towards Jason because he's Dream Tracks, right? But it's not just him; it's his whole entire crew. Like Sean Rife and Riffy, like is the baddest dude, most technical rider growing up, and I raced with him, and it's the same thing with him. He's mentally hitting these things in his head as he's building them, and when you hit them, it's the funnest, most perfect jump ever. And once you get that trust level with this crew,
game on.
It's game on. You know. So
for me, Vicky, I was shitting myself knowing that Tyler was about to hit that jump. Especially, like, okay, we'll lay the scenario out. Twitch and Jeremy spoke about it before, but we just see McNair's flown out in a chopper with a broken femur and a broken pelvis. And that, for other people, might be a sign of, like, let's not have 2 of these in a day. But this maniac had something in his mind. And, I was shitting myself. But for you, you're out on the course, you're a peer, you're out there riding with him. What's the feeling like going through you when you know that he's ironed something like that off after, like, a gnarly situation with McNair's?
Yeah, watching McNair's, because when McNair's crashed, I was sitting at the landing waiting for him to jump it, and it was kind of a similar situation where it's like, man, it's going to be close, but we all have faith in each other, and we're not going to be going to him like, hey, I don't think today's the day, and putting the doubt in them, because obviously they're sitting there looking at it for a reason, because they trust themselves enough to do it in the first place. So you're not going to go over there and just squash it all. So for McNair's, I'm like, I know he's got it, and just like a little bit of just a little bit of recipe for disaster is just enough. And man, his hand blew off, and that was just enough to turn the tables. So to watch him on that one, and watching how high he was, and then fast forward a couple hours,
literally,
this knucklehead was like, today's the day, and I'm like, oh, you got to do this to us. And but I mean, that's how it is, though. I mean, it's bad to say that we're kind of desensitized to it in a way.
Oh, we are for sure, though.
But I mean, it's happened so much that we're so unfortunately good at switching that and going right back at it like it never happened. But you have to, I mean, if you don't and you sit there and think about it, like, that's when more bad things happen. So, I mean, I've seen him do this year after year.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and like he mentioned with his relationship with Baker, I'm on year 4 of doing this, and I see every year, every jump, that everything puts you right where it needs to be.
Yeah.
And so same thing, he has that trust in Jason and the crew, and I have it as well, to where it looks absolutely mentally insane to where it's not going to work, but somehow at least Jason's good at math.
There's one dude in the crew, and that's all we need.
Someone's got to carry the two.
So,
you know what I mean?
he's got the math and he's got the balls, so it works out. It's a great combo. But yeah, it was just like flashbacks, just watching McNarls lift up and knowing he's gonna be a little short, and then he did the same thing in that last minute lift.
Oh,
and I'm like,
yeah.
oh my gosh, like, just get there. I'm just like, we're all just like trying to will him forward. And yeah, sure enough, like that little bit was plenty.
And dude, like when I got back and I saw a bunch of the clips and stuff, like I'm my own worst critic, and I know, like, I knew that thing could be done, but as soon as I left the lip, there was that time slowed down that I was like, oh fuck, this is not good. And that's why I like did full boner air the whole way, like just trying to
just
stretch
maximize
that thing,
the distance,
you know. And then once, like, about halfway, 3/4 of the way through, as I started to drop, I knew I was good to the deck, and I basically got my bike back from this to touch both my wheels down at the same time, to not let it like eat me up. Because basically, like she was saying with McNarl, she was sitting on the landing, I was setting back on the setup jump, and I was sitting there. I took the morning off because I was super sore, and I was just running around the course helping people, you know, click off new jumps, because there's fucking million jumps out there. So we were doing some media stuff, and someone came in and was like, yo, McDonald's wants to hit the big one over the house. So I instantly dropped everything, and I ran out there, got on my pit bike and rode up and basically gave him my 2 cents and to be there for my buddy to like help him check this off the list, you know, like she said, you're not gonna go up and say to not do it in doubt, but you're gonna literally give him what you're seeing on the run-ins and be like, yes, that one was it. And that's just not to say he did anything wrong, but there was just the slightest bit of hesitation, and the way Baker builds things is to maximize the power, and especially for jumps that big, most of them are say 75 to 100 feet, but that one was 154, I think, and McNarls literally only hung a wheel, like rear wheel, right on the knuckle.
And when you stand there and you see where he landed, if that wasn't a 150-foot jump, you're sweet every day of the week.
Yeah,
and not only that too, but like I was just saying, when I did the boner air and I came in, I have had the experience with these big jumps with Jason, that knowing that I'm knuckling one of Jason's decks that are safe, but like you have to kind of put your wheels in the right spot to be able to absorb it, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I did to make that adjustment, because I had time slowed down in my head, and I'm picturing and replaying this situation that I just watched my friend get hurt a couple hours before, and like it could be enough to end everybody's day, you know?
Yeah.
But you have to flip that switch to be able to know what we're doing and basically be like, what would McNarls do and what would he want us to do? And that would be go back out there and handle it.
Yeah.
You know? So to that point, when McNarls came in, like he knew he was going to deck a little bit. And if those of you that don't know McNarls, he is a brick shit house. So when he came in and he just pulled the front end up to slap that thing down, and that was just enough for him to hang a rear wheel. When he slapped it down, it ripped his hand off the throttle, so he couldn't get to the throttle to kind of power through it. That when the hand slipped off, then his butt hit the seat, and then the suspension compressed, and then ejecto seated him down the landing, and the bike tackled him. And just unfortunate, brutal reminder of what we do, and
consequences.
and you know, to that point, being here at E3 Ranch, it's amazing, and their foundation and all the things that they do, but they bring in veterans. And I was just having a conversation with one of the vets that they brought in, and it's more or less us going out there strapping our helmets on. We are going to war with ourselves and our dirt bike in this course.
Yeah.
Of course, we don't have bullets flying at us, but like we're going to war on this course, and like that's the risk of what we do. It's like a slight miscalculation like could end your day, month, year, life.
Yeah.
And we know that risk, but unfortunate, brutal reminders like that, but we'll never shy away from it because it's provided us all so much, and we live by it. It feeds our soul, each and every one of us, so just being able to channel that into the right mindset, and it's easier said than done. I know people think like listening to me hear this will probably be like, oh, this dude's high as a kite. But
well, I think I
yeah,
think too, like, you guys on a regular basis, right? Like, you're riding shows all the time, you're riding motocross, like, this is your job, is to do this stuff. And it's like, it seems as though Red Bull Imagination is the place where you really find your limits. Like, when you're doing a show at a Supercross on a 75-foot ramp, that's not your limit. Like, you're very, very comfortable there. It's like, This is Jaws. This is Pipeline. This is the place where you can ride for fun 360 days of the year. And it's almost like this is the place where you come to see, like, what can I do? What am I capable of? Like, what is my limit? And you're in an environment where you've got the best people in the world, the best builders in the world, the best facilities in the world, to just go out and really find out, like, where is my limit?
Absolutely. I mean, that's pretty much why I come out here, is because, like you said, I hit 75 and ride tracks, and that's in my comfort zone.
Yeah.
But I mean, I remember the first year even coming here, I was like out of my mind to even come here.
Yeah.
And I was kind of, it was in I think the year I did Real Moto, and Tyler helped find me Fake Utah for Real Moto. And then shortly after, he did his one shot, but I was still working on my Real Moto, so I couldn't kind of return the favor and come out and help. So when he told me about this idea, I was just like, oh, like, I'll come out and help, and I just want to repay the favor and come out and help in any way I can. And he's like, no, I'm trying to get you to come ride it. And I was like, wait, what?
I don't know if I want that.
I don't know. And sure enough, like, that just escalated from there, and just coming out here for the first year of just looking at things and having, like, Sipes and Seeley, like, the best racers in the world, looking at this and being like, absolutely not. Like, what are we doing here? And then you have me, and I'm just like, I don't know if I belong here if they're scared. So it's just from the first year of that mentality to the next year, and so on and so forth, of just pushing that comfort zone of, all right, well, now do I really need Tyler to follow off everything? And, do we need this? Do we need that? And just kind of keep pushing and pushing to where, I mean, shoot, last year people were looking to me for a couple toe-ins, and then it was just like, just another surreal moment for me of like, why would they be looking to me? And it's just, I don't know, and even happened the other day here of I don't even think Tyler was riding. I just went out on my own and I found one, and then I think Novice and Kalana came over, like, what gear is that? I was like, it's just such a surreal thing to put myself in that environment and to be looked at that way. And it's just cool because I've just continuously tried to push my comfort zone and come in here with just some personal goals and really push to just become better, because I mean, this is the scariest but the best place to do it. Even if you don't like it, you come anyways. And so every year,
be rude not to.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think for me anyway, Vicky, like, your riding in the last 4 years, it's insane to me the level that you've got to in such a short period of time. And it was so cool for me to see you ride yesterday and just be killing it. Like, so much style, just hitting everything just so precise. Like, you can see the level
you're one of the best examples, I think, of just a crazy amount of progression in 4 years. And it's like, how long does it take you to get to that level without imagination?
I don't think it would have at all. I mean, we were doing some stuff where we were finding new jumps and new areas and things like that. But when you go out to places like that or hills or whatever, you're realistically shoveling 1 to 2 jumps. And, you know, the time it takes to build them and then jump them, it's just, that's all the time you have. So the progression for me in those scenarios is really slow. But when you come here, I mean, shoot, how many, you couldn't even count the amount of new jumps.
There'll be
had
so
to
many
figure out
jumps
in time.
unhit this week.
Exactly. And we leave here every year not jumping everything. So
there's actually only 2 jumps on the course that haven't been jumped this year.
Really?
Usually we leave and there's like a handful, at least.
Damn, I would have thought
10.
there would have been more.
Only 2.
Damn, you guys are sending.
yeah. Yeah, that's the crazy part too,
Yeah,
is how fast
The
we
one,
move through.
the one that crosses the first tower jump, that big, basically BMX dirt jump. It's like a wall landing, and then the one before it that sets you up into that one is there's a berm around the tree jump, around the lip to come back the other way, and it's like a hip. It's not very big. The second one
that's
is
the one
like
I jumped while you were
really,
taking
and
mine
you
off.
guys, I saw Christian going left on it when you could go either way. Like the way that Jason's built everything out here, you can go multiple directions on everything, and that's just taking the normal approach to the course. Like you take a K-dub mindset to the course and go landing to landing and to lip to
side of the lip to side of a landing.
The whole thing, it's like creativity is king with this whole thing, and less is more. It doesn't have to be the biggest jump. It doesn't have to be the biggest trick to win this contest. It's like the transition is there and it's everywhere. You like just go hunt for it and you'll be surprised what you can find. And I say this every single year. This year 100% in particular, and last year's course too, but I could spend a month out here and I would find a month worth of jumps to hit. It's literally never ending, and you can break it down to say I'm just gonna guess, but say close to 100 jumps on the course, and you start counting transfers, like you're gonna lose count straight up. There's that much. Last year I make it a point every year after I'm done with the event here, I stay and just kind of decompress and get to hang out with the LaRoches, and amazing family, and they treat us all so well. And they've taken me hunting and get to shoot guns out here and just be real American, you know.
Dude, it's so good.
But it's the best place to just kind of decompress. And when I've gone, I went last year. I went out there after the event and went nobody at the course, sat in the tower by myself, and you know, it was just kind of brought a journal out there and was just putting my thoughts on paper. And after that, and I started counting jumps, and man, dude, I literally had to recount like 15 times, and I couldn't ever get a number because it got too confusing because there's so many jumps, you know. So I guess to Vicky's point too, with Baker's whole crew and their building, the way they build things brings out all of our best riding, and I like to think that vice versa for his building.
Yeah.
Our riding brings out his best building. He gets to not be in a blueprint or in a box. Whatever his wildest ideas and features that he's always dreamed of, I'm all for it. Like, hit me with something that literally makes me want to shit my pants, and I'll try it with all my heart, you know. But yeah, it's just something so special with what we've created with this thing, and I think, to be honest with you, we're just scratching the surface.
Yeah.
I've said this, you know, kind of internally with our core group of people that help and see this vision. I mean, this is something that it's not often that someone sees your vision and backs it and understands it, and the fact that we've been able to get to this point, like, you know, you have like a set of keys, and you got like your house key and your mail key and all this stuff. Each year, Jason and I have gotten one extra key to take this thing in the direction that we see it. And dude, we are just literally scratching the surface with what we've created in this vibe and this place and this atmosphere. It's camaraderie, and we're literally trying to, I mean, you don't want to give away too much, but there's just so many things that we see this direction of this that we can give back to the whole community of two wheels, and not just like free riding or freestyle. You know what I mean? Like, our whole goal with this thing is let's convert super motocrossers one day at a time.
Yeah.
And it's case in point. Like, you got Josh Hill coming out and just ripping a Supercross season
dude, even
with his
Justin
brother.
would rip this
Exactly.
place apart, dude.
So
There's some really cool guys that could get in on
You
this.
think
I would not miss
like,
this.
Yeah.
unfortunately, Singapore got canceled for WSX, but he was not mad that it did because he didn't want to miss this. You know?
It's
the funnest week of. It's a 100% the funnest, most
gnarly
scary
week.
fucking week for all of us. But there's something to be said about facing your fears and the camaraderie that we've created with one another. Like, it's not just like me versus you, like the racing or the freestyle in this competition feel. Like, it's a camaraderie, it's a family. Friends are family, and we're trying to like help each other face our fears and check off these goals. You know what I mean? And the broader picture of this whole entire event is something that was a pipe dream for me. And, you know, I'm fortunate enough to have the backing with Red Bull that I do, and kind of my squirrel brain jumping around here. But when I first got on Red Bull, I had a meeting, and one of the bosses told me, like, you know, X Games and all these things that you're doing, it's amazing. Like, don't change anything, but results and all that are cool, but all we really want is content. The craziest content, the craziest ideas, whatever you can dream of. Like, you hit us with 10 ideas, like maybe 9 of them hit the cutting room floor and one of them sparks a bell, you know, or sparks a light or whatever I'm trying to say, you know what I mean? But yeah, that was one of the things, like, with this event was an idea. And this, I'm kind of rambling here, but when I got on Red Bull in 2018, I was at Jason Baker's facility, Moto Sandbox, and we were filming my first Red Bull project, Fundamentals, and we got
Shout out Wes.
Yeah, shout out Wes. Westicle Williams, ladies and gentlemen. But we were down there and we got rained out, and we just sitting around just kind of watching it rain, and got to talking about the idea of this event. And Jason had met Adam and built this Dream Tracks vet track behind us. And then a year later, once he built this, then they did Ryan Dungey's cornfield project out here, and was talking to Jason about the idea of this event. And he goes, yo, I have this property in Kansas, and I know it's crazy, Kansas, middle of America, but there's this one hill with like really good elevation, and we did the Dungey cornfield project, and I know the dirt and the consistency of the dirt. Like, let's just go do a site check. And I was like, all right, absolutely. And I'm so jaded, like, she knows, being from Southern California, you know, you've been there, like Beaumont, Ritchie, Glamis, Ocotillo, all these rolling hills in our backyard. We get here and meet Adam, the best dude on the face of this earth in my eyes, and super cool. He just lets us go into his garage, grab his dual sports. We rip the dirt roads 8 miles to the course, right into the field, and we're sitting in the field, and I see this fucking rolling hill. Like, I look at Jason and I'm like,
that's the hill?
That's the elevation you were talking about? It's like 30 feet. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's the biggest hill in Kansas, to be fair.
To that point, the highest elevation in this whole county was that hill. We doubled it with the quarter pipe landing the last couple of years.
So gnarly.
But yeah, it was super cool to be able to kind of meet the whole the whole family, and then see this thing come together from the ground up. And as going back to the point of the content thing, like this was just an idea to film a content piece and bring some friends, and then basically a proof of concept for me to be like, look, we can then turn this into a contest eventually, right? So fast forward, this was 2018, fast forward to like 2019, the talks start happening, COVID, pandemic hits, just fucks everything up, especially you coming here. But yeah, it just, COVID hit, everything shut down. Media house at Red Bull was struggling with content. There was no shows, there was no events, there was nothing. And this being here in the middle of America.
Yeah, it turned out to be like the perfect place.
It was perfect. It was a private kind of skeleton crew event, more or less, and no fans, nothing, just no masks needed out here, you know? But yeah, it was just like the perfect storm of being able to come out here and then be able to have the freedom to be able to do what we want, to see this vision come to reality. So, you know, that first year that the contest got thrown on it, and Red Bull approached me and Jason and wanted to basically do a live show like Straight Rhythm or like, you know, Rampage or whatever. Yeah. And we basically took a step back, like, whoa. Like, this is too much pressure for us to deliver, right? So turned out to be really good. A little bit of a delayed live thing, delayed content, a few days out, and it worked out really well. But we threw the contest on it the first year, and then it kind of, all the focus came to that contest day, right? So we bottled this feeling up of the best weeks of our lives, of having fun, checking each other's, like clicking each other's boxes, you know, and pulling each other over these jumps, facing these fears and overcoming these fears together as a group. And then it goes to contest day, and then we're back in a box. Yeah. The reason why we are all free.
The pressure and the stress.
100%. This is your drop time. Yeah. And if it's windy or not, like it's now or never, basically, right? Yeah. So it was a bit tough to basically see the best week of our lives and the sickest content to come from that, and then go to contest day and the content more or less be lackluster. One, because of, and that's not a knock whatsoever, but the content that
it's just like the environment doesn't lend itself towards like getting content.
Yeah, exactly. So it goes from being able to run and gun the course with like all the GK Films crew. Shout out GK Films.
Yeah, the boys.
Same, bro. Ferd Moto, GK.
They're just the best.
Yeah, the best. But those guys running and gunning around all week, like, it comes to event day, and it's really hard to properly film this course across a basically 10 square acre facility or land, and be able to film it properly to make everything look good and give us the justice that it deserves. You know, that's why some of the best content comes from the whole week leading up, because Wes gets to get right up in our face, taking off the lip and underneath the trees and all weird and upside down shots that he gets.
And I think it's like the emotion too. Like there's so much emotion that you feel. Like, dude, Wes yesterday was like, I've actually got the shot. It's sick. Before you hit the 180, like, he closes his eyes and it's like he's trying to get in his zone as much as you're trying to get in your zone. And then it's like you land, everyone sprints to the top of the hill, and it's like it's so raw. And I think like that's also what makes the content so good. It's like you're hitting the same jumps in the contest, but it just hits different when it's like we've already seen you do it. Everyone knows. It's like the real gnarly part of this event is the practice days, and it is when you guys are like sizing stuff up, and then you see the emotion that comes from like, fuck, my friend's actually still alive. Like, what a relief.
I think that's the best part of what he's able to capture, because when we go out in the hills, it's the exact same thing. Yeah. We built something with shovels, and we didn't have Baker, so we definitely didn't have any math on our side. So then we're just sitting here guessing, looking at it, and just once again, like,
and the nerves and the
everything that they get to capture on camera is what we do out in the hills in the middle of nowhere, but just nobody sees it. Yeah. And we all sit there and experience it and get to feel it. And then to be able to have what he did and capture it and then put it on a platter and get to showcase it to
on
people.
one of the biggest platforms in the world.
Exactly. And that in itself is something so special because, like I said, we do it all the time, but nobody sees it.
Yeah.
And here we're doing it how many times a day?
Yeah.
So it's just, it's unreal that, you know, just one of my favorite things is just coming here and those dig deep moments.
Yeah.
And you get to relive it because we have a camera crew with us.
Yeah.
And it's just like, if we have terrible memories anyway, so it's like we get to just go in on our phones and rewatch it. And
I have
that.
It's a 6:53, by the way.
Ooh.
Oh,
I-
let's go.
Good timing.
Yeah, that's a good time.
I have this written down, and I have to keep going back to it because, again, our memories are shit. But we've been talking about this, and like to her point of trying to, and your point too, of those feelings and being able to bottle that up of seeing somebody like me jumping that thing for the first time last night, like that is way more of a show than the contest.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right? So if you can bottle that and distribute that to the world, like that is free riding in its truest form right there. But free riding is also whatever you want it to be. It doesn't have to be the biggest jump.
Yeah.
If you're out there going ripping the track or ripping trails or whatever you're doing, like you're riding free.
Yeah.
It's whatever you want to make it. You know what I mean? You don't have to be fucking jumping 180 feet like this fucking idiot, you know? But there's so many things. But we wrote this down of being able to try to bottle this and distribute it. So it's Red Bull Imagination, expanding the limits of bottling fun and distributing it to the world. If you can do that to your point of that feeling, that vibe of when you watch your friend, the nerves for everybody are through the roof, let alone what's going on in my fucked up brain going into that. It's, if you could have that with the people being there, like say there's 1,500 people coming in tomorrow, if those 1,500 people could capture that moment, that will never, ever, ever leave their brain.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if, in my eyes, the way that I see this going is, you know, we have these freestyle demos and all this stuff, and it's basically taken over freestyle. There's no more contests. It's all these shows, and guys are making a really good living doing shows and traveling the United States, jumping a ramp to an airbag.
Yeah.
How can you not have a free ride demo and basically have Jason build some sort of smaller scaled course and be able to put on a show? Like, we're performers. Like, if you show up and no one had hit the course and the fans are already there and they were able to see
everything,
our thought processes of how we work through things, and again, that would be tough on us with that extra added pressure, but takes me back to when I tend to just get things to a point where I'm that flow state where I just slow things down. It's full tunnel vision. I don't see anything else. Everything else is a blur around me. I'm locked in, you know?
Yeah.
And everybody's different, but if you could capture that and give it to the people, like give the people what they want, like we're just scratching the surface, honestly. And think about that course out there, you've seen it with your own two eyes. You imagine, you'd say you've been to Red Bull Day in the Dirt. Like that, that event itself embodies fun.
Yeah.
Like the family, friends, Thanksgiving weekend, dirt bikes, beers, all of it, you know? That is based on having fun. Like, you go out there and it's like, cool, if you win a trophy, awesome. But
you're almost a dick if you want to win that event.
Exactly. You're just there to have fun and do team races and not go win, but to go roost your buddy and stop for a beer on the side, whatever you want to do. Like, it's just so fun. And that's what that event embodies. And with this event, you could do so much.
Yeah.
Say, hypothetically, there's a moto track out there. You have campers coming. You have a concert going. You have BMX jumps. You have mountain bike jumps. You have a vendor row. and it's just a 2-wheel fun festival.
Yeah.
That is just based on a good time. You know what I mean? Like we could still have this event on Saturday, like have a quote unquote contest going through the course. You could have mountain bikes going, BMX going, something going on at all times so people can continue moving around and just see us bottling fun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
That's a recipe for success. There's no other way around it. Like when I think that, like, we can have this Saturday of all these things going on in this big event, and then say all the campers and everybody's out there to hang and stay for the weekend with their families, and then all the guys that rode on Saturday get to go open ride day, practice on the track in the field next to it, and they get to all ride with their heroes and just go all for the fact of having fucking fun on a dirt bike.
I'm in on that.
Like it's something that's the way I see it, and giving back to this whole community as a whole, and not just free riding, or freestyle racing.
It's two wheels.
It's 2 wheels as a whole, and that's what we're trying to do. And that's this week of us bringing in some of the Groms that are at Jason's facility, and having Kalana and having Tyler and Biggie and these kids. Like, we're converting super motocrossers one day.
Building that next generation.
Yeah.
So
and damn Motocross of Nations, we almost had Kenny.
Oh, dude, he would murder this event.
Yeah.
Like, he would be kickstarting that 450, just pressing sand. So how does I guess the event is evolving to the point now where you've gone away from like the individual competition to the team. Like, how do you feel about the team side of it? I think it seems like it's going to give everyone like a unique opportunity to kind of like really focus in on their skill set.
Yeah, that, and I think it kind of carries the vibe
Yeah,
the entire week.
Like that vibe you're talking about.
Exactly. So years past, I mean, it is what it is. It's a contest, so we kind of need that individual time, and trying to kind of share the course, which is a pure chaos on its own, and then throwing people that need time on them for themselves at this point. So I don't know. I think it just carries and gives that vibe of what we're all trying to literally bottle and showcase is that whole friends, family, team environment, and to just put us on teams. It doesn't even split us in two, because we know at this place. Oh, Wes is a legend.
What a legend. What a man.
Wesicle Williams, ladies and gentlemen.
These are pretty tasty.
I'll have a beer, yeah, please.
Oh, that's a
I'll have a
good
beer.
sound.
I can't be the only one not having a beer right now.
It tastes so good when it hits your lips.
Tastes better in Kansas for some reason.
Yeah.
Honestly, you're
Every
not
beer
wrong.
tastes better in
You're not
Kansas. Wait.
Back to our point.
Squirrel brain.
Beer.
Yeah. But yeah, I think just that team environment has carried through to where there's none of those like racery type selfish moments of like, oh, if I do this, it'll give me that extra point. And we're just, it kind of turns it into like a friendly, fun competition for us. And having Dumb and Dumber as team captains, it makes it that much better, because they're bickering more than we are, and just
It's the best.
It makes it so fun, and we're just, like I said, it doesn't feel like we're competing. We're kind of just like, oh, well, what category do you want to do? What do you feel? Ooh, kickstart. But yeah, it just turns into like, oh, what category do you feel like you want to do?
Where are you going to be able to shine?
Exactly. So it kind of makes it's different. We've never done anything where it's a full team minus day in the dirt, which is a recipe for only fun times.
Yeah.
So we're taking a little sprinkle of day in the dirt and putting it into this, and it just makes it cool, just because we get to literally help each other out, and it doesn't really feel like a team thing where I'm still trying to help Patrick's still trying to help me, and he's still trying to help me, and you know, it's all around. Like, no one wants to see anyone get hurt, so it doesn't really matter. But that being said, we are still all racers, and we all still are competitive, and whoever wins is definitely going to be speaking about it for years.
They
to
get
come.
that. They get that
Bragging
12
rights,
months
baby.
of just
Exactly.
being the shit.
Yep, and that is more of a paycheck than anyone will ever want.
So who's your like breakout performer for this week, do you think? Because I feel like every year we're always bringing in new blood. There's new people that are like elevating every time they come out here. Who's like someone that's just sneakily impressed the shit out of you this week?
Sour Patrick.
Dude, same.
Sour Patrick
Yep.
Evans. That's
and
our
he's
nickname
not
for
as
him.
sour,
Yeah.
which is kind of crazy.
No, but on the real, all jokes aside, Patrick is absolutely crushing it. He's been ripping the last few years and gotten an opportunity at X Games, and he crushed it. And not to take anything away from Patrick, but he hasn't always been the best under pressure. The things that he he would always end up exploding himself. So
Yeah.
it was always like, with the whole thing of like wanting to invite people, they don't really get the perspective until you stand on the floor, and I just don't want to bring someone in that wants to ride over their head to try to prove themselves, because it's that fucking
It's that gnarly, yeah.
It's literally that gnarly. If you could have everybody stand there for 1 hour on the ground,
I'd be like, are you sure you want to do this?
yeah, it would make people think twice. But Patrick's absolutely been crushing it. He just learned how to flip like last week on a 75, and he's already done his first dirt-to-dirt flip and flipped multiple times, and looks like him and Josh Hill are going head-to-head in the speed and style category, and they're both ripping on the track.
Yeah.
I'm going to say Josh would be a heavy favorite, but
Being that he
Patrick-
just finished the Supercross playoffs.
Exactly,
Yeah.
but Patrick and Josh's style is second to none. Like, watching him flow around this course just gives me that like Hanny vibe.
Yeah,
You know? But then Patrick absolutely ripping, super sick, loose style, and then throwing in a flip. Like, if if Patrick can rip it hard enough to keep that time close, like, style breaks the tie of close
Exactly,
to close times. So if he throws in a flip and then throws in crazy whips and really
has the
good
style
style everywhere else,
Yeah.
like, it could be an upset, you know? But I think it's really cool, and he's absolutely crushed it. He's stepped into that role, and I guess back to this point, like Vicki was saying, with the team vibe, like, last year, let's be real, moto is not a team sport. It's an individual sport. It's me versus 39 other guys on the gate of a outdoor, or me versus 19
And there are
other
no
guys
friends on that track.
No. And I get this question all the time, like, how do you deal with the pressure? And I'm like, honestly, with what I'm doing right now and having fun and doing this does not come anywhere near the amount of pressure you feel sitting on a line for a main event in front of 80,000 people in a stadium with the lights. That is a pressure that I cannot even put into words. This is a pressure that I can feed off of and channel that in the right way, but it just makes it so fun in the team environment and the team aspect that we have this year. It is a team, but there's 5 categories. So 10 athletes, 5 each team, and then there's 5 categories. So to me, being a free rider is what we do. We all have a racing background, so to tell the story of a free rider is all these categories. Creative, technical line, you think K-Dub approach.
Yep.
Opening ceremonies at Supercross, and he's jumping 3 lanes and going from one side of the track to the other, and you're just like, what did I just watch? Like, that's the sickest dude ever. Shout out K-Dub. That's the creative, technical line idea of that. It's a skate park. Go find a creative line. And then it goes over to big dogs. Big dog could be the biggest jumps. It could be the biggest tricks.
The biggest flip.
Whatever it is. And then you move over to speed and style. And all of us being freeriders have a racing background and technical ability on the bike. Like, it tells a story of the freeriding through all these categories.
Yeah, that's so
speed
cool.
and style. And then you got best whip, which best whip speaks for itself. It's the most simple trick, if you want to call it.
Yeah.
But the most important.
Yeah.
There's guys that can go out there and do crazy flip tricks and double flip combos and stuff, but they can't whip their dirt bike. And you watch them straight jump, and you're like, whoa, that's scary. You know, and not to take anything away from those dudes. I love it. I'm friends with so many freestylers, and they're my boys. I absolutely love it, and I respect the progression on that to chase a goal and prove to people what can be done that was deemed not to be done, right? So respect to that, but it's just
real free riders can whip.
It's just, I mean, racers, all these, this story of these categories of the free rider can do anything. So if you have all these categories, and not to toot my own horn or I sound cocky or anything, but I could potentially fall in any one of these categories for my team. Yeah. But I'm going to fall into the category that I can do my best and bring my best strength to my respected team. Yeah. To beat the other team and have the bragging rights, right? Like, we're all in this together. None of us lose because we all get to ride this course together as a team or as a group with two teams. And, of course, you want the bragging rights to beat the other team, but no one loses in this situation at all. Yeah. And that's the coolest part about this whole thing. And I think to her point of the team vibe this year, of being able to bottle that feeling that we create all week and that footage and that vibe to progress each other in the right way, to push each other together and not against each other. It's like not me versus you, it's us versus them now. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's super cool. We can bring our strengths to the table to then basically continue that vibe that we create throughout the whole week and take it into Saturday to bottle that up and distribute it to the world. Yeah.
So, Vicki, your little surprise performer for this week that you think could be going on in the next couple of years to just be an absolute force out here?
What do you mean? Like
who's been your surprise?
Oh, I mean, I totally agree. It's been Patrick for sure. He's actually lived with me for years and years ago. And
how was that?
And that's where Sour Patrick came from.
That's so funny. I
used to go to the store and get him like positive energy tea and just set it on his bed and just anything I could do to just boost that poor kid's mood. and that just to my point, like, I mean, that was when he was even more of a filmer than he was a rider, and he was my filmer for Real Moto.
No way.
Yeah. So and it was cool because I knew he knew how to film, how to ride, and I was like, you know the angles, you know the shots, so I want to do this with you, and let's do this together. And in the back of my mind, I'm like, he's gonna do this, and watch if next year comes around, like, he'll be competing in it. So obviously Real Moto kind of got squashed shortly after, but that was in my mind, and I knew this was gonna be his path. I'm just so stoked to see it finally come to the light. And he kind of like had those moments where it was just the pressure was on and it was just a bit too much. But it's just so rad to see like him go try and race Supercross now and start flipping, start doing shows for freestyle. He says he's not a freestyle guy, but that's a lie. But
free rider.
Yeah, he just does it all. So it's
that's
cool.
What Twitch told me a long time ago. You're not a racer, you're a free rider.
Exactly. But it's just cool to see him actually like have his light shine, because I knew a long time ago that it was coming. You just need to turn that frown upside down.
I love that. You know who else has really impressed me as well is Kalani. Just on a 450 at 6 years old.
That's I think too, like Kalana just being able to come straight from the Coliseum and racing the futures thing and coming straight here, like, was talking with the family and stuff leading up, and like the question was asked, like, what needs to be done for him to get ready for this, and I'm like, nothing. He knows how to jump a dirt bike. Just go focus on the futures, and like that racing bike skill
sets him up.
Sets him up for success with this thing, and it's proofs in the pudding. Like, the kid just got on a 450 last week, and he jumped.
He rode it once.
Yeah.
He jumped every single jump out here before Tom P did.
That's crazy.
Before Tom P even geared up.
But Tom P could also be his
granddad.
Maybe granddad. Yeah.
I love it. Well, hey, we're losing light. Dinner's about ready. Thank you guys for having me. You got anything else to say?
we got a special guest that just walked up.
Oh, he's
we gotta
here?
bring him in.
All right, we can.
Sorry,
film
Vicky, we don't
we
mean
can
to
film
kick
in the
you out,
dark.
but
That's rude.
We can film in the
Finish
dark.
my beer here.
All right, thanks,
I
Vicky.
set my beer down. Hold on.
Jay, Bagger, get in here real quick. Thanks, Vicky.
That's fine. Kick me out.
Hey,
I'll go finish my beer.
act natural.
That's what you
Just
get.
that's act natural.
Hey, that is instant karma right there.
What am I?
We're chatting, bro.
Do I never act natural?
You always act natural.
Put them headphones on. You better hear that sweet voice. What's that?
What? Do what?
It's all right. It just is what it is. Hello, Mr. Baker. Mr. Dream Tracks.
The man, the myth, the legend, ladies and
The
gentlemen.
one, the only. Oh. Yeah, I guess it is what it is. Yeah, that's all good. Yeah, no, we can't hear it. It's fine. We'll just keep rolling. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks, babe. Mr. Jason Baker, finally, not the full podcast. We will do one here at some point, but this is rad, man. This is obviously my first experience at Red Bull Imagination. I knew this property from Homegrown. I saw what you did then. This place has actually been pretty cool now that I just think about it. You've really pushed boundaries on the Homegrown course. That broke the internet, and then you've gone
And whatnot. So it's just about, it's not pushing limits, but just learning and growing more than anything. I don't want to push limits to the point that safety is my utmost concern. Every one of these guys is matters a lot to me. They're my homies, and so we want to do unique, challenging things. But it is crazy as it looks. It's not like, hey, let's give this a shot. There's a lot of thought process that he and I put together into this, and it's a magical place.
So what, I guess, to give people a bit of scope of what goes into this event each year from the Dream Tracks perspective?
I'm
a lot.
a lot. I'm already, like, when we're working, there's hidden gems out there. Should we come back, we hope to come back, of course.
We're coming back.
That's right. This is a special place, just, even emotionally for us, some of the things that we've conquered out here. So when we're working, like, there's gems out there already for next year. Every year, I'm telling on myself, they'll probably see it now, but every year that we've got done, I take his pit bike, and when everyone else is up celebrating and drinking beers, I'm riding the course. I did it last year. I find a high spot, and I start putting things together, and then
Reimaginating,
and then, he starts sending me stuff, and we start chatting, and we just pick up from there. So it's just constant evolution, constant change. What can we do better? I feel like every year that we've come here, we've been better, because, like, on my side of things, of course, the course is the ultimate, or the pinnacle of our challenge or week or weeks, I should say. But even the infrastructure, what we've done this year, it was very important for Tyler and I. We wanted the live crowd to have the best experience possible. So we put that VIP deck literally in the middle of the course.
Yeah.
These guys are going to be,
jumping over the crowd. And even with the GA audience, we've got the big 140 down there. And when they see him tune up and hear that thing click third gear, and he just barrels off that thing, like, it's so all the feelings that we've been able to
I guess, provide to the people through the years. Just that the excitement, the awe, just like so many like positive feelings that people leave here going, man, I've never felt that before.
Yeah.
We want to share that with the live crowd. So it's all of those things that we put into. It's not an accident that it's been this successful.
Yeah, and I think from like a logistical standpoint too, I mean, what you guys have done here is pretty unprecedented. I mean, we're on the landing yesterday, and you know, you're saying there's 3 Supercross tracks in this one landing. It's like just the level at which you guys have had to grind to make this place happen. I mean, it was literally a blank canvas 4 years ago. And, you know, to see where it is now, I think even just logistically to pull it off, it's just insane the amount of machinery that you guys need, the amount of dirt that you move, and especially year on year too, the way that it changes.
Yeah, you're right. And it's, you know, of course, Jason Baker is the face of Dream Tracks in my company, but man, the team that I have supporting me are the best guys in the world for me. There's great operators out there. I'm not slighting anyone. I know there's great operators and a lot of proud operators, but the team that I have assembled to do this, they are every bit as passionate about it as Tyler and myself are. And there's a camaraderie. I mean, even between all the other riders, not just Tyler, but that level of respect, the level of trust. Every one of my guys are just as passionate as I am, and you know, we're all checking each other. Like, and when I say that, like, no one is like, I'm not just the final say. Like, if I've done something and they go, hey Jay, this looks like it's got a knuckle or this or that, like. There's no pride. The pride is success.
Yeah.
That comes.
It's like a team pride.
It's a team pride that, hey, we've done the absolute best. So like if someone sees something that needs to be fixed, we just fix it. It's just that way. So that's just the whole team atmosphere, all of that energy, everyone being on the same page. That's what allows us to keep pushing these limits and be successful in the way that we have been.
Yeah, and you weren't on earlier, but I spoke to this, but you and your whole crew, the amount of trust that I have in, you know, Jason Baker being the face of Dream Tracks, but his whole crew and the communication that we have between each other. Like, I trust these guys with my life, and I would like to think that our riding as a group here of all the athletes brings out their best building and vice versa. Their building brings out the best riding in all these athletes. Like we mentioned this earlier with Vicki, like we can go out and a session with the crew in the hills, and like no one really gets to see that. But like the fact that your building brings out, we step it outside of our comfort zones and face this all together. It brings I'm leaning on my team, and the team that I've built with Jason, and that relationship is like something that you can't really put into words, and it's really just something special that was something that we've created, and we are just scratching the surface with this thing. If you could hear me and this guy's 3 a.m. conversations when we're traveling and like we just can't shut our brains off on ideas and things for this event, it goes on and on and on and on, and that's the beauty of it. Imagination is creation, and if you don't have that creation mindset without it to build that imagination, then there's nothing. So like there's no blueprint for us. We literally get together, we start say that course out there, the course is 10 square acres, give or take, like don't know the number, but you pick a couple key features that you want to change and move and start with, and then once that starts coming with the 3 Supercross tracks in one landing, then all of a sudden you have 30 options to one jump. You know, things just start, your own imagination starts growing, building, and speaking to you in a sense of when these guys are out there building, that it just comes to you. And that's case in point, the way you see out there in that course this year. It's it's super funny. We've been saying this all week, but if BMX dirt had diarrhea, and the diarrhea hardened on the ground as a skate park for dirt bikes.
Yeah.
Welcome to Red Bull Imagination, baby. So what we've created out there, and the way that we've talked, and I guess going back to like last year where we, it's individual runs it's me versus you, right? So we have all these runs, and it kind of puts the riders and the athletes back in a box. We're free riders because we were tired of being in the box of racing or freestyle or whatever it may be. That contest day more or less put us back in a box. It's me versus you. So last year I had a line that I wanted to do, and I accomplished this line. Same with Axel in 35-mile-an-hour crosswinds. Like,
yeah, that was wild.
Axel got 1 point on me, and he took the lead after the first run. And I completed the run that I had in my head, and I don't do tricks. Simplicity is key for me, and that's what's gotten me to where I am. So I don't feel like I have to do that to stand out.
Yeah.
So I completed this line in my head, and that I had set out to do. I accomplished it. So then after that, I kind of basically, going into the second run that we had, I said, good job, Axel. Like, you crushed it. You beat me. But let's go take this second run together.
Yeah.
And go put on a show for the people that are here, and pick the jumps that we can hit based on the wind direction and what is capable with what we're given.
Yeah.
And that just sparked such an idea for me of like that Thursday night when I hit the big jump, being able to bottle that feeling and what free riding truly embodies is something special to me. And the fact that we were able to do that, me and Axel together, it's more in my eyes a proof of concept for myself of the way I see this thing going. And it doesn't, free riding is not a contest. Like, the best riding and all this stuff comes from us feeding off of each other and pushing each other to progress each other and face each other's fears. And it's a friends or family. We are a big family here, and we're pushing each other to get over these obstacles that are scaring us. There's something to be said about facing your fears every day. So the fact that me and Axel were able to do that, and that was a proof of concept to prove to myself, like light bulbs go off in your head, like, ooh,
yeah,
we're on to something here.
Yeah.
And then this year, going into this event and having still, the ESPN show, and having to make it make sense to the average Joe sitting on the couch that happens to stumble upon an ESPN show of Red Bull Imagination. Like, Red Bull Imagination, what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But how to tell this story, tell our story of what we're trying to get across of what makes a free rider and all these categories and all these things. It's just something really cool that we've worked as a massive team, and we've leaned on our team together to basically bring our role all to the table to then create something really cool and unique. And the fact that we've done this team vibe this year, like, I'm going to be honest, going into this year with all these talks of these changes, it was very stressful on me because I hadn't seen the course. There was no blueprint for the course. I'm trying to be able to mentally wrap my head around how do we tell this story of all these different categories and so many more moving parts. It's to the point of, if it's an individual run and a contest run or a skate park run, whatever you want to call it, through the course, that's a little more easier to tell that story. Like, you have this course, go put your
people
line
are
together.
like used to it. Yeah.
And now it's on us to be able to tell the story of what free riding means to us. And the fact that going into it, I was stressed out, to say the least, a little bit. Like, how do we tell this story? And then now, once fast forward here this week, and we get here and we implement all these changes, and everyone responded to it so freaking well. It was insane. And everybody took their role and know what they could bring to the table for their team. And everybody took that and ran with it. And the vibe that we get all week, we're now taking into Saturday, which was our goal. And everyone has their role and can know what they can do to bring to the table, to have the bragging rights to beat your other team, respect the team. But no one loses in this whole situation. Like I said earlier, we all win by being able to ride this masterpiece that the Dream Tracks crew has created. So far it's been insane. My stress levels have gone down on how we can tell this story because it's naturally unfolding and telling itself. And the way that we got here and the way that this has gone has exceeded any of my intentions to it all. And we're going into Saturday fired up. No one's beat down, bruised and battered and stressed out because now we got to remember the line that we're going to put down on this course. We get to go compete against each other, the other team, but together to bring our strengths to our respective teams, which is really, really cool format. And to top all that off, we get to do the contest on the contest side, and the old K-Dubs Kingdom side is now a whole separate course. And I'm speaking for me and him here. The nuts and bolts for this whole thing is that side for me and him. Like, we can basically show that as our proof of concept of how we see it. The freestyle shows and all these things that are happening now. Like, how can you not have a free ride demo to bottle those feelings of watching us hit jumps for the first time and like being scared and overcoming your fears like that? If you could bottle that up and distribute it to the world, like, that's it. That's the nuts and bolts right there. And you don't have to have a contest on it. We all win together. Yeah. You know what I mean? So we're just scratching the surface with this thing. And I think we're on to something and we're just getting started. I can tell you that.
Well, I'm pumped to be out here, and we're doing iPhone lights now, so I think that's our sign to wrap
I actually texted Steven over here for one of the helpers for E3. He's provided a lot of heavy artillery out here for us to shoot on the range. And with this whole thing in the La Roches and the E3 Foundation and the ranch here and everything they have going on, they open their doors to all of us to stay here. And they provide an experience. That's one thing that we 100%. We want to do with this. Like, there's rolling hills and elevation all over the world. Like, this formula,
but there ain't no E3
this is
ranch
not.
everywhere.
There's not. You cannot emulate this vibe anywhere else. So if it does move around, like, this is there's something like I mentioned earlier to him that we're not ever leaving this place. Yeah. No matter what it is, if this event moves and we're not, I'm coming back here with him. By ourselves, you know what I mean?
And me, I will be here.
And Wes, and Mr. Westicle Williams.
Well, boys, I'm fired up for tomorrow, and we got to do this properly. 3 hours. We got to get it in. So next time you're in Cali building some shit, then we'll get you in the studio, mate, because there's a lot to uncover.
Oh yeah, this is just an introduction. I've got plenty to. Plenty to tell.
I actually think it's worthwhile that JC go to Florida. He owns this place called Moto Sandbox. It's a really nice facility.
Well, I need to train for World
How about we do both?
Dude, I'm down with both. Yeah, down. Down. Sounds good.
Open invitation, bro.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. This has been Gypsy Tales from Red Bull Imagination. Tyler, thanks for being a psycho. Jason, thanks for agreeing to build what this psycho has said that he thinks you can hit. And yeah, it's awesome, guys. This is a special event. It's a special group of people, and I'm stoked to be a part of it.
We're stoked to finally have you.
Hell yeah.
Thank
Glad
you.
to have you, bud.
Thank you, COVID, for fucking off so you can finally come out.
Let's go Saturday.
See you guys Saturday.
We're excited to announce the launch of our new membership site, gypsytales.com, packed with exclusive content and perks that you won't find anywhere else. This is your chance to become a part of the Gypsy Gang. And as a special bonus, if you sign up to an annual membership, you'll be entered into the draw to win our custom-built TC125. Gypsy Gang.